casual ep today, but I just kind of want to talk to you guys, you know? So we see all these videos on Twitter, we see all these videos going around online, and we're basically just witnessing the downfall of our country. We're just witnessing our country collapse and crumble and fall. Our culture's been completely hijacked and subverted by these people. The mass migration has ruined the cultural landscape of this country. It's unrecognizable. You don't even, when you walk out into the streets, if you came from 1940, 1920, 1910, you wouldn't recognize the country today. You'd think it was another country. And it's made me think, like, what's the direction to go? What are we supposed to do, you know? Because you can talk about the problems all you want, but that doesn't make them go away. It raises awareness about them, but it doesn't make them go away. And I think a lot of people are stuck in this, with this feeling of impending doom. We're stuck in this cycle where we feel like we want to do something. We're seeing the country on the precipice. These are the last days of what was once a great empire. And we're all collectively wanting to know what to do and how to fix it. And I think you just have to face the reality of as it is. There are more, or at least almost equal the amount of them to us. Of the other sect of people, of the other tribe, they control all the institutions. They run all the powerful institutions, whether it's banking, finance, no matter what it is. That's what's going on. So it would take years and generations to accrue that sort of institutional power, or to retake, rather, that institutional power, because it took generations, it took years to accrue that power to begin with. And then on top of that, of course, you have mass migration. And this is a problem facing every Western country: Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and the United States. And I was talking to someone who knows about these sorts of things, and it was his opinion. He said, well, unless the American people, unless the European people, unless they take a true stand and a leader rises out of the ashes of our destroyed, smoldering countries, and the people follow behind that person, and there's a plan, and it's not just, you know, unbridled riots and chaos where it's the worst of the worst takes out the best. And his thought was that that's probably not going to happen. I don't see a leader out there. I don't see anyone who's capable of sacrificing, who's capable of leading, and who the people can unify behind. I don't even see that much unity amongst the people, far much less amongst even the right wing. It's all division, it's all fighting, and we're being led by people who are not who they say they are. So the people who you see as the front runners, as the key influencers in this whole scene, we think that these people are on our side, and they all have something in common, lots of them. I'm not saying all, but lots. Most of them, and the most successful amongst them. They all have ties to intelligence agencies. They all have ties to powerful families. They're all very well connected, and they have a lot of money behind them, and they have a lot of institutional power behind them, which is why they seemingly can withstand the censorship and the banning and the lawfare and the attacks, or they seem to come out unscathed. And we look to these people and we think these are the leaders of the revolution. These are the leaders of the freedom movement, let's say. And then when you take a closer look to them, you're like, well, you're going to Christmas parties with these people, and you are connected to those people, and you've taken money from this organization, and why does your family have CIA connections? And it's very strange and convoluted, and they're weeding out the people who don't have CIA backgrounds, or don't have ties to intelligence agencies no matter where they're from, or don't come from, you know, these families that are connected and have generational wealth. They're weeding those people out. They're attacking them through lawfare, censorship, or straight up throwing them in prison, like what we're seeing in the UK. And bottom line is, it's a numbers game. If we are outnumbered in sheer numbers and outnumbered in our strength in the institutions, what do you have left? You know, I don't see enough unity amongst the people right now that they would rally behind a leader. And we're in, like I say, the last days of America. We're in the last days of not just America, but Western countries, white countries around the globe. And I feel like it may be the time, unfortunately, because I've never been this person. I've always been a stand your ground kind of person. But at some point, you have to know, okay, well, is there even a chance? You know, it's like, are we going to win, or are we going to stand our ground and lose? Just like what's happening in Rhodesia in South Africa. So you can admire and respect those farmers for standing their ground and not allowing people to just take their farms. Or we can go the route of the conquistador, of the conqueror, of the settler, of the explorers. And that's who created these countries, was explorers, conquistadors, warriors, emperors, and a collective desire to expand and find new territory. So I'm starting to think that we're never going to see our emperor rise. We'll never see a leader rise, because most of the people that you see as potential leaders, they are guided by self-interest, or their controlled opposition, you know? And if they are legitimate, if they are who they say they are, they won't be allowed to accrue power. They won't be allowed to accrue a following. They won't even be allowed to speak. So maybe it's time that we just, you know, we didn't act in time. We got lazy. We got comfortable. What is that trope? Good times make weak men make bad times make strong men make good times. We were a weak nation, and we allowed people, out of our own goodness, we allowed people to come in and take over our country. Because you can spin it however you want, but this is a takeover, a hostile takeover in every sector of the country, institutionally, politically, and demographically. So maybe it's time for us to just decide we are going to launch out again. We will launch out again on our ships. We will launch out to the far corners of the earth, and we will establish a new empire somewhere. You know, because I'm just trying to look at reality as it is. People will not rally behind a leader, and I don't know who to trust. I genuinely don't trust anyone in this industry. I don't. And I think that's been proven because time and time again, it's like these suspicious ties, and it's like, okay, but that's not normal though. Like, it's not normal to have CIA backgrounds. It's not normal to have connections to the intelligence agencies and to these elite groups or families or institutions. That's not normal. Sorry. None of you know people like that. I don't know anyone like that except for the people I've seen in the industry. And people aren't ready for that. Like, people have a fit if they hear someone say a racial slur. You think we're ready to take our country back? So I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, maybe it's just time to go and make our own empire. And that empire will grow and be great for, 200 years until they all flock there. And maybe this time around, we will have a strong fist. And we won't just allow people who are not like us, who do not share our heritage or our values. They worship strange gods. They come from different cultures. We don't allow them to take over our new empires. It's not like it hasn't been done before. That's how America was founded. That's how every country was founded. So I'm starting to think it's either true action or we just seek out new lands and we become conquerors and conquistadors and explorers again, you know? So anyway, that's my thought. I was just doomsday thinking right now because I'm just trying to think of reality, and that's just how it feels like. That's how this new reality feels. I mean, look at the fits people are throwing just after the few deportations that we've had. And these people it's a hostile takeover. So what do we have left but to pack it up and build a new empire somewhere and do not allow people to sneak in, subvert our new empire, and control it, and then obviously ultimately destroy it like they've destroyed the rest of our great empires, because that's what we used to be. So those are just some black pill thoughts for you. I don't know if you'll agree with that. I don't even know if I should post this, but I don't care. That's what I was thinking, and I've been hearing this from a lot of people as well, that it's like, well, maybe it's just time to form a new empire. Maybe it's time to settle new lands. And, you know, and I always thought that too. I was like, well, if they're all coming here and there's nothing we can do about it, or nothing we're even allowed to do about it, we can't even talk about it, then maybe we just go where they came from. Go somewhere else and found our own empires. But I don't know. I don't know if you agree with that. I don't know if you think that's insane ramblings, but that is how I'm kind of feeling. I feel like that's how a lot of people are feeling as well. American people, European people. We're being pushed out of our own countries, and before long they won't even allow you to escape, you know, because that's historically how it's been. They want to take your things, and they don't want you to complain about it, and they don't like you, and they don't want you to exist, but they at the same time don't want you to leave either. So it's like, what are we left with? Anyway, those are some thoughts for you today.